Hello, everyone. Coming to you from my office right down the hall from our classroom to apologize deeply, particularly to Jamie, who I know wanted to have class today. And I'm sorry that we're not going to. Some of you are probably very, very glad because you didn't have to come onto campus at all today because Central States Communication Association is meeting and a lot of classes I know are being canceled because people are heading out pretty much today for the rest of the weekend. I, on the other hand, am not. And however, I am headed down to Branson to go to the Taney County Democrat Club meeting, which is a disaster. There are going to be sparks flying, and it's going to be very, very fascinating to watch. And I'm excited about it, I'll be honest with you. And I want to bring back news about that to you because political parties are actually considered social movements. And I know that's a surprise and it's a shocker, but we're going to talk about that at some point. However, today on the schedule was not a discussion about political parties as movements. Instead, today's discussion was continuing the discussion of violence as rhetoric. And as you know, the last time that we met, we talked a lot about whether or not violence is rhetoric, and I 100% do not believe that. But we do also understand that the public discourse that occurs around violent acts like terrorism are, in fact, that is rhetoric, and that is important to understand and acknowledge. As Hunter eloquently pointed out on Monday, the book chapter that I had you read for Monday is very clear about how violence can be strategic, how you can use it to your benefit, and how sometimes certain groups feel that they have no other option but to use violence as their messaging, or to get their messaging going, or to revitalize a movement, right? To get you out of that sort of maintenance stage to create a crisis. So there are strategic ways that violence is used in social movements. I don't advocate for it ever. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody, but I do acknowledge that there are certain types of violence that organizations or social movements that I have belonged to have used, and it's not right. It's never okay, in my opinion. Just my opinion. It's okay to have a different opinion. I do want to point out that when we talked about violence, that we said harm to humans. Destroying an electrical grid harms humans. Destroying a water supply harms humans. It's not just about shooting people, bombing people, terroristic attacks. It's also about those things that harm humans in other ways. Zoe mentioned graffiti. It harms a building. It can make the building less appealing, and sometimes that's the point. I would argue, again, that that is not, in my opinion, violence. That violence has to actually harm human beings in some way to be considered violent. And therefore, that kind of violence is not okay. The concept that there are different kinds of violence is, as outlined in your book, I think helps us in this discussion. And you all got me to flat out say, and I do believe this, that graffiti is effective, and I don't consider it violent in the way that, we're talking, because there's a distinction, and you guys acknowledge this. There's a big distinction between a terrorist attack on another people and or gunning a person down and putting graffiti on a wall. Very, very big difference. One of the biggest proponents, in my opinion, of social movement, I guess criminal act, if we want to call it that, some people might call it violence, is Banksy, right? Banksy goes around and puts up art anywhere he wants. It could destroy a building, but now since he's worth so much, I guess it just makes that building more valuable. But it certainly sends a message. And when he started, and he was anonymous, it was an amazing messaging strategy for his point, right? So, yes, there are things that people consider, I guess, violent. that work. Hunter on Monday, I'm hoping, will talk to us again about what he outlined in the book, or got from the book, I guess I should say, as to how we might use it. But today, our discussion was going to be a continuation of, I think it's chapter 13, if I'm not mistaken, on strategic violence. And I want you all to pay close attention to what that actually means, in the sense that if one side uses violence, what is the response of the other side? Do you respond with a nice, friendly, okay, we get your point? Or, I mean, violence breeds violence. That's the point. So hopefully spending this amount of time that we have on the concept of violence is not rhetoric. Violence is not good in social movements. Hopefully you understand those distinctions. So anyway, that's what we were supposed to be doing today, continuing that conversation. And we certainly can continue it next time. There is a day on the syllabus where I say your annotated bibliography is due, and we don't have anything scheduled for that day. So we can continue whatever conversation we want to have on that day. We could talk about whatever you guys want. I want to remind you that you do have final presentations coming up in a couple weeks. I want to remind you we have a final exam. I want to remind you that we have been utilizing the book. If you have not been reading it, that is not something I can solve. But so catch up while you're reading. Take some time today from 3:30 to 4:45 if you have the time off, which you all should. I am going to head down to this organization, this movement. I'm not really sure what it is right now. It's sort of messy. And I'm not planning to be involved. I always say that, and I always end up involved, but I'm not planning to be involved. But I am considered an expert in understanding the difference between committees and clubs and PACs and 501c4s and 501c3s and all of that. So maybe I'll get asked something. I am actually pretty smart when it comes to that stuff. I won't say smart. I'm informed on that stuff, and not a lot of people are. Part of the reason I am is because of this class. So hopefully you're getting something out of it too. And again, Jamie, I'm sorry we're not meeting. I feel really bad. I really kind of am regretting my decision, but I got to do what I got to do. So, well, I will see you all on Monday. And I do expect to see you all on Monday. So have a good weekend. Some of you, if you're interested, I know a couple of you are going to be at Democrat Days of the Ozarks. I will be with the College of Democrats Friday evening. If you are someone who is interested in in politics as movement, feel free to come. Hunter can give you all the information. It's Friday, 5 to 8 p.m., free. Food is free. You have to buy your own drinks, but food is free. You can meet all sorts of candidates that are running around the Ozarks. And that's a really weird way to put that, who are running campaigns around the Ozarks for different various districts. You get to learn a lot. You network like nothing else. I think the College Democrats can tell you that. You meet some pretty amazing people. So if you want to come out Friday night, we will be there 5 to 8 p.m. It's at that hotel that's at the corner of Glenstone and I think it's Chestnut Expressway. No, Glenstone and Kearney, I think. The big Marriott Convention Center, I think it is. Why don't I know the name of that hotel? Anyway, if you need more information, you can go to the Greene County Democrat website and check it out. Even if you're not a Democrat, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to show up to these things and learn about what people are talking about and what's important. And for you all, the people you would think most alike, the people I could see you saying, these are my people, they think like I do, there's hope for the world, blah, blah, blah. These are the people that are those people. And if you're looking for internship opportunities, job opportunities, in the political and social movement sector, this is a really good place to go network. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. I will see you Monday.